Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and today we have another tag video. I'm so glad to see a few of them making the rounds again, and today this is the Project Pan tag. So we've got some questions about project panning, about different projects and just like ways, tips, tricks, things to do to use the makeup you own if you are trying to be in a low buy, be in a no buy. Just be conscious of what you are buying, using what you have, and not buying the new all the time. So I would love it if you would hang out with me and just chat a little bit about this topic. And without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into this look and the questions. Before we get too far into the video, I would love it if you would consider subscribing. I upload videos twice a week. It is totally free to subscribe, and I would love to have you back again on the channel in the future to talk more things all makeup. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get into the questions and creating this look. Alright, so as I answer the questions here, I'm going to be doing my makeup, and if there is anything you want to know, like what is that, what are you using, I won't necessarily talk about every item, but I will leave them all linked in the description so you can find what I'm using there. And let's go ahead and get into the questions. There are 10 of them, and I'll leave those in the description box as well in case any of you would like to either type out your answers, or if you also film, do Instagram, what have you, you can answer these questions as well. I'd be really interested to hear your guys' thoughts. So question 1 is, why did you start project panning? So I would say maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I started tracking my spending, like how much am I spending every month on makeup, because I was getting more into indie brands, more into my channel, and I was buying a lot of makeup, growing my collection. It was very small before I started YouTube. And as I was tracking my spending, I was realizing I wasn't loving how much I was spending. And it's not that I was, you know, putting myself into debt for makeup. That's not it at all. It was just more about thinking about like, where am I allotting my funds and what areas of my life, and, you know, what are my short and long-term goals for other areas, on my budget, etc. So based on tracking that information, that's what led me to trying to control, maybe control is the wrong word, be more conscious of how much I was spending. And not only how much I was spending, because some of it was not just monetary, but some of it was just like the quantity of things I was buying. Because I did, once I built up my collection, realize I was getting to the point where storage and organization was becoming difficult for me. Something that I didn't want to happen was to have so many things that I don't even know what's in my collection, or I can't even thoroughly enjoy the things I've spent my hard-earned money on. So in an effort to both be more mindful of the amount of money and the amount of products I was purchasing, and to try to now reduce the number of things in my collection, you know, whereas before I wanted to grow my collection and have options, I definitely hit and surpassed that. Now I'm kind of going in the opposite direction of not only spending less, but my bigger concern is just using up products that I have. I don't necessarily want to just like throw them away or give them away, because I did spend money on them. It's very rare that I get PR. So I wanted to be more mindful of what I'm bringing in and how long it actually takes to fully go through an entire product in an effort to curb my new purchases. And then the last 2 years, I have tracked not anymore the amount of money I've spent, but I've more so focused on what's the amount of products I have purchased. Because again, it's less about the money than it is about how many eyeshadow palettes, how many like of these different products I have. So tracking the amount of products I've purchased per month and how much I'm using certain types of products, how long it's taking me to use them up, like how many usages, things like that. And I know I'm not where I want to be with my goals on not bringing new things into my collection, but I would definitely say since I started 3 or 4 years ago, I can see in black and white based on the data I've collected that I have definitely improved since before I was tracking it all. So progress. All right, number 2, what's the most rewarding part of project panning? I would say seeing progress is the most rewarding part, whether it's totally using up a product or even just seeing progress. I'll leave link to my deck of panning series I've been doing this year. It's been super fun and motivating for me. And I mentioned to you guys that I haven't hit pan in this bronzer yet. I'm using it today. But you can see in the middle the rings of the pan starting to peek through. So to me, viewing that progress, while I haven't technically hit pan or met my goal, it's still progress and I can visually see that. And that's rewarding to me to see like you are doing what you set out to do and achieving your goals on using up your products, and you are being consistent and you're not being wasteful. Now on the other side of that, number 3, what's the most challenging part of project panning? There's a couple things that are challenging for me. Obviously, like the reverse of what I just said, if you're not seeing progress, like there's been times it's been like, okay, I panned or finished 2 or 3 things one month and it was a really good month. And then because I had to start a new product after that success and move on to the next thing, they were like more newer products and it took 2 or 3 months before I could see any progress at all. So that can be a challenge when you feel, like you've been diligent and really sticking with using products and not going with new things, but like it's just taking forever to use up. And part of that, I think for me, the challenge is I love testing and trying new things. I never use every single product the same thing every day. There's always something that's different that I switch out. Even if it's 1 or 2 products that I switch out, I will never use the exact same 100% products every single day. To me, it's like food. Like I would never eat the same exact meal 3 times in one day. And I don't even like to necessarily usually eat a meal I've just had the next day, unless it's like really good leftovers or something. I just like to mix things up. So that's a challenge for me sometimes when I constantly like to be trying new things and different things, but I'm supposed to be using the same things so that I can use them up. So that can be a challenge, and I think that's why I try to, in these projects like this, I've been using the same bronzer every day. And that's been a consistent so they can see progress in this one product, but not everything is the same. I'll switch between a few different primers, a few different foundations, definitely switching between eyeshadows. And that keeps it feeling fresh for me when I start feeling those challenges. And that's kind of some ways I've found to cope with those challenges when I have come across them, and something you might be able to try if you also notice you're seeing those challenges in your projects. All right, number 4, how many project pan have you done and do you plan on doing more? So I am definitely not a panning channel. Certainly not all I do. I do a lot of rankings. I used to do a lot more unboxings, but as I've said, I've tried to limit what I've been purchasing, and when I do purchase, it's pretty much always something that's on a sale. It's not a new release. To also try to cut down on spending, just because if you didn't know, I got married last summer, so I was definitely allotting my finances to other places. So not so much with the unboxings anymore. I'll still do like a quarterly haul every once in a while. I haven't done one of those recently, and I definitely will once my 2 or 3 Black Friday purchases that I did make come in. But I have a couple series panning wise that I've been doing on my channel, one of which is Emily and Max's deck of panning. That's a new one for me this year. I love that one. That is the one where you use a deck of cards to choose what products you're going to use and focus on for panning for that month. And I think that's fun to me because it's more of a challenge and it takes the work out of like me having to make decisions. I'm a public school teacher, so I feel like I make 10,000 decisions a day and I have decision fatigue, and I just don't even want to be responsible for picking what I eat for dinner, let alone what makeup I have to use for a month some days. So that's been a wonderful project. to keep it fresh and fun for me. I know it's not my most popular view-wise series on my channel, but it's fun for me, and so that's why I've been continuing to do it. I'll have to choose and reassess soon, even if I do it, if I'm going to film it or not, based on my views, you know, because I do want to just put stuff up that you guys want to see. Maybe you can give me some feedback about that in the comments. But the other one that I've done a couple times is the planning to plan X number of items in whatever year. The first time I tried to do that was in 2020. I had planning to pan 20 items in 2020. So basically you just pick 20 products and you work on panning them. Simple as that. But I ended up not wearing a lot of makeup that year, as I'm sure many of you can relate. And so it was an epic fail. And I really didn't do anything with panning after that attempt because I was just like, okay, well, clearly I didn't do it and I don't have the dedication to do this, so I'm just not going to. And that was my attitude, and that's how it went for a few years. But I don't really know what it was. I feel like just seeing some other creators doing that particular project again maybe re-sparked my interest, but for whatever reason I decided this year, 2024, that I was going to try again. I think I had quite a few products that were on their last leg that I really wanted that final push to get them out of my collection, used up and gone, that I decided to do 24 products in 2024. And I'm going to do like my finale of that project here in December. I definitely did not get through all 24 products, but I got through a decent amount of them. So I feel like even if you don't meet all of your goals, even if you meet, you know, half of them, that's still 12 products that I panned or used up, which I feel like is good, especially since I maybe didn't make the best list. Like as I'm reflecting, I see like, okay, I put 2 almost full highlighters and 2 almost full concealers on this list. Like in what world was that going to happen? I don't know. I might have been a little delusional, or I don't know what last January when I made that list. But I think I want to do that one again. It's going to get harder and harder though, right? Because it's going to be 25 products in 2025 and so on and so forth. But I think what I have found, especially through Deck of Panning for me, is that I need to be realistic, right? Like, let me show you an example. One of the things that I'm supposed to be finishing off this year is this Melt Lip Pencil. Now, I've got a month left. I feel like that's doable, right? So if I pick things like that are on their last leg and they're not like full-size products, or if they are full-size products, just picking one in that category and not putting multiple in, I feel like it'll be doable. I just need to be thoughtful and realistic on my goals, because otherwise you're kind of setting yourself up to not meet them, and then you are going to feel like, well, I just can't do this, so what's the point? So that's how many I've done. And for the second half of the question, do I plan on doing more? Maybe if I see a project that appeals to me. Like I've seen some that I've thought about, like the Level Up project with eyeshadow where you have to like use every shade in there, but I just feel like I won't have fun with that. Like especially eyeshadow, I love switching it up so much that being tied down to one, I feel like it's gonna make me hate doing my makeup, and that is the last thing I want to do. I don't want to do any projects that make me start to be like, ugh, I'm dreading doing this, because this is like one of the most fun things in my life, is the artistry, the makeup, the videos. It's like one of my big hobbies, so I don't want to feel that way about it, and I don't want to join any projects that get me to that point. So I'm not against adding any new ones, but I also don't have any specific plans right now because I haven't seen any new ones that appeal to me, but I definitely want to stick with the 2 that I'm currently doing in the new year. Number 5, are you also doing any projects in addition to Project Pan? I don't know if I would call it a project, but I'm tracking what eyeshadow palettes I am using and how many times, so that I know what are my most used palettes, what palettes did I not touch at all in an entire year, how many times am I using them, that sort of thing. So I don't know if I'd call that a project. I guess maybe it's a project. It's not a project pan. I'm not trying to pan them, but it is a project, I guess. So I'd say I'm doing that. And then I've been tracking what other makeup products I use every month. Again, just to be aware of what am I using, what am I not using. It's been really helpful for me to see like, okay, I love a colorful grungy lip, but how many times am I actually using those and pulling for those when it comes down to it, and seeing, okay, even though I love it, I'm not actually wearing it that much, so it's fine that I have it, but probably I don't need more than one if that's the case. And keeping that in mind then when I go to make my purchases, or in the case of what I'm trying to get at, to not make purchases. Number 6, do you limit your spending or go on a no-buy while project panning? So last year, 2023, I had said that I wanted to limit my spending to 2 purchases a month. I did okay with that. There were definitely, I think like 75% of the time I stuck with that. There were definitely months, like November when it's Black Friday, that I did not stick with that 2 a month rule, for sure. I've never, and I don't know that I ever will, go on a complete no buy. I'm fortunate that I don't have to, but if something's a limited edition item or like a collab or something, I don't really want to say a no buy and like rob myself of something that is going to make me happy, because at the end of the day, sometimes just having the collection makes me happy, whether I'm using it all or not. So I don't want to get to the point where I say, no, you can't buy anything. But low buy, definitely. This year, I did not give myself a 2 product per month limit. I just kind of said, like, I'll play it by ear. And again, I more so wanted to not purchase things when they first dropped due to pricing and the wedding and everything, and say, okay, if you're going to buy stuff, it's either going to be just because it's limited edition and this is your only chance, or it's like getting clearanced out and the brand isn't going to carry it anymore. A few times though, I will say, I do get sucked into the, like, it's not necessarily being discontinued, but the sales. The sales do get me. I think that was my downfall this year, is I'm like, oh, but it's on sale for whatever, I have to jump now. No, I don't. I need to get better at that. So in December, I'm going to be doing an updated makeup inventory video. It's been a year and a half since I counted every single product in my collection to see how many mascaras do I have, how many eyeshadow palettes do I have, etc. And I was hoping most categories went down. I know eyeshadow palettes have gone up, but I knew when I made that video it would. But I think some things like mascaras, eyeliners, things like that have gone down. So after a year and a half, I want to count again and see where I am compared to where I think I am. And I think that might inform my decisions about a low buy or a no buy, or what kind of rules and goals I'm going to set for myself for 2025. Number 7, who are your favorite project panners? So of course I see Makeup in the Mundane and DW on both YouTube and Instagram panning things, and I really feel like it's motivating to see people posting their old beat up products. Like, no, this is what it actually looks like when you use your products. And I wish there were more of that instead of like the pristine looking stuff, to be honest. But there are also some people that I see that I'm like, you're posting a pan like every day. How are you doing that? And I know that's something that Makeup in the Mundane said in their video. And I even commented and was like, Andy, I relate hardcore with this, because Andy was talking about, like, I just must be light-handed or something because I'm not hitting pans as fast as I see some other people, or people who have like exclusively panning channels. So I have to be careful not to compare myself. But to be honest, I don't know if I can tell you that I have like favorite project panners, because I think everybody that I know is kind of like me, where it's like maybe they'll put in a pan here there video or post or something, but it's not like a dedicated panning page, because again, it's like it takes the fun out of it, I feel like, if that's like all I'm doing exclusively. So I will name those 2 just because I follow them and they inspire me to use what I have. I don't know that I have much of an extensive list to give you beyond that. All right, number 8, what's your number 1 tip for a successful project pan? I feel like I kind of already touched on this, but creating realistic, achievable goals, I would say, is my best tip. Part of why I feel like I've been successful with the Deck of Panning series is because it's not necessarily panning it. Panning can be usages. Andy touched on this as well. It is making progress if you just say, I am going to use this product X number of times. And once I've done that, I'm going to move on. And that helps somebody like me, like I said, who wants to rotate out a lot of times and not stick with the same things over and over. So that makes it more realistic and achievable for me so that I don't feel stuck and frustrated and give up and quit. And everybody's slightly different, so just find what works for you so that you can be successful if you want to do some sort of panning situation. But usages, for me, if I set like 10 usages, that seems to be the sweet spot. There are some products that I hit 10 easily. There's other products it's taken me like 6 months to get 10 uses out of. But again, it's information for me about what is okay for me to buy because I'm going through it and I'm reaching for it and I'm using it that many times, no problem. And what kind of products it's taking me 6 months to use just 10 times. Okay, you don't need to buy any more of that kind of product if that's all the more you're reaching for it. Number 9, what's your goal for your collection through project panning? Man, I would like to say to shrink my collection some, but also I know that some of the products in my collection, like, because they're getting so old, it's not that they've gone bad, but the quality of makeup just keeps getting better and better, like the performance of it and what makeup can do. So I have some products that are older that just, like, the technology wasn't there 4 years ago for what some of makeup can do now. So my goal is to just get out more of those old products so that I'm just having the newer makeup that I feel like is better quality. But also I can still enjoy some of that older music, but still I can enjoy some of that older makeup by combining it with newer products so that it's like a happy medium, right? For example, I'm using the Melt Christmastown palette today. This is a newer palette compared to the rest of my collection. This is super old, this brow product. So I'm doing a combination of new and old so that I can still use up old products that just need to be gone because, like, who uses brow pomade anymore? Like, they sell it, but I feel like most people don't. I would like to not, but I'm trying to use up what I have. So that's an example of my goal, just to like use up older products in my collection that I want to replace with newer, better formulas. Number 10 is what panners do you tag to do this? And Andy changed it to what are your current 2025 goals? So I think I'm going to change it as well. My goals are to continue the Deck of Pan series because I love it so much. Again, I'm not sure if it'll continue on my YouTube channel or if I'll just change it to a once monthly Instagram post. Or just do it myself personally off social media. Again, I would love to hear feedback from you guys, or if there's a project I don't do that you know about that you think I would enjoy after hearing this, or that you would like to see that would maybe help you get inspiration to use your products that you already have. I would love to hear that in the comments as well. And I have some travel, some school, some home improvement, financial goals for myself in the next 3 to 5 years, that even though my wedding is not the thing financially that I'm allotting my money towards, instead there are other goals and things that I would like to achieve that require money. So I don't know if I'll go back to what I did 3 or 4 years ago and track spending, like dollar amount as well, because I did goals before, like you can't spend over this dollar amount per month, and then this past year it was more like quantity of product versus quantity dollar amount, or maybe I need to do both, but I need to figure that out so that I have more specific goals for 2025 than what I do right now, because like I said, once I do that inventory in December and I have some time off work, off public school teaching, I'll have more time to get my thoughts together for what specifically my goals are going to be. And then I'll share those goals with you guys when I do probably my finale for the 2024, planning to pan 24 products in 2024, which I think I'll pair with like my intro to my 2025 products. And I don't know if I'm gonna like swap out some of the products if I'm realizing that they're unrealistic to use in a year, or if I'm just gonna roll over the products that I didn't quite hit and have them a second time. I kind of feel like making it fresh because I'm worried if I just roll it over, if I didn't use it this year, it's just going to be same story next year. But you can also feel free to leave me your thoughts about that below. And I'm going to finish up here, the look here. I need to do some brow gel, some mascara, and a lip. And I'll show you our final look here. And here is the finished look. Definitely more Halloween looking than Christmas looking, considering this is the Christmastown palette, but what can I say? I don't want to let Halloween go quite yet. I didn't want to bring out the red and green quite yet, even though I know it's December. And yeah, I felt like I needed to do the black lip because that is part of my deck of painting series, and how is it not fitting to use in this video since this is the tag? So thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of the video. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you again on the next one. Bye!